It was a chilly evening in New York City, the kind where the wind whispered through the streets, carrying the scent of rain and the distant aroma of roasted chestnuts from street vendors. The sidewalks were bustling with people rushing home, lost in their own worlds, unaware of the countless stories unfolding around them. Among them was Sarah Mitchell, a single mother in her mid-30s, struggling to carry 2 grocery bags while holding her 6-year-old son, Ethan's, hand. Ethan, a bright-eyed boy with an infectious smile, had been diagnosed with leukemia 2 years ago. Despite the harshness of his illness, he remained a bundle of joy, always fascinated by superheroes and stories of kindness. That night, Sarah was particularly exhausted. The hospital bills were piling up, her job barely covered expenses, and she was running out of hope. As they crossed an intersection, a sudden gust of wind knocked one of her grocery bags to the ground, scattering apples and cereal boxes onto the wet pavement. "Mommy," Ethan gasped as Sarah tried to kneel and gather the items. Before she could react, a man in a worn leather jacket and dark jeans bent down beside her, picking up an apple that had rolled near his feet. "Here, let me help you," the man said with a warm, familiar voice. Sarah looked up, and her breath caught in her throat. She recognized him instantly, Keanu Reeves. The same man who had graced the silver screen in blockbuster hits, a legend in Hollywood, was now helping her pick up groceries in the middle of a busy street. Sarah stammered, "Thank you, Mr. Reeves. Just Keanu," he interrupted with a kind smile. "And no problem at all." Ethan's eyes widened in pure awe. Are you John Wick?" Keanu chuckled. "That depends. Have you been good, or should I be worried?" Ethan giggled, nodding eagerly. "I've been really good. I love your movies, and my dad used to say you were the nicest actor ever." Sarah's smile faltered slightly at the mention of Ethan's father. He had passed away 2 years ago in a car accident, leaving Sarah to navigate life alone with Ethan's diagnosis. Keanu seemed to notice the change in her expression but didn't press. "Well, that means a lot, buddy. What's your name?" Keanu asked. "Ethan," he beamed. "And this is my mom." Keanu turned to Sarah. "Nice to meet you, Sarah. Are you guys okay?" She hesitated, not wanting to burden a stranger, especially a celebrity, with her problems. But something about his presence made her feel at ease. "We're managing," she finally said. Keanu glanced at Ethan and then back at her. "Let me walk with you. It's getting late." And so, the 3 of them strolled down the sidewalk together, Keanu carrying one of Sarah's grocery bags effortlessly. Passers-by did double takes, but he seemed unfazed, fully focused on the conversation. As they walked, Ethan excitedly told Keanu about his favorite superheroes, from Batman to Iron Man, and how he wished he could be one too. "You don't need a cape to be a hero," Keanu said. "Sometimes, just being kind is enough." Sarah swallowed hard at the profound simplicity of his words. After a while, Keanu gently asked, "Ethan mentioned his dad. He was a fan?" She nodded. He passed away in an accident a few years ago." Keanu's expression softened. "I'm so sorry. That must be incredibly hard." She nodded again, her throat tight. "It is. But Ethan keeps me going." Keanu crouched beside Ethan, looking him in the eye. "You know, my dad left when I was young. And I lost my best friend and my baby daughter a long time ago. Life can be unfair, but you have something really special, your mom. And she's a superhero in her own way." Ethan turned to Sarah with a proud grin. "You hear that, Mommy? You're a superhero." Tears welled in Sarah's eyes, but she laughed, ruffling Ethan's hair. "I'll take that." When they finally reached their small apartment, Sarah expected Keanu to say goodbye and leave. Instead, he hesitated. "You mentioned hospital bills earlier," he said. "Is Ethan sick?" Sarah sighed. "Yes. Leukemia." Keanu was silent for a moment, his gaze filled with understanding and something else, determination. Then, he reached into his jacket pocket, pulled out a card, and handed it to her. "This is my assistant's contact," he said. "Please, let me help." Sarah blinked, taken aback. "Oh no, Keanu, I can't accept." "You can," he interrupted gently. "You've been fighting alone for too long. Let someone fight with you." Sarah looked at the card, then at Ethan, who was gazing up at Keanu with absolute admiration. Finally, she whispered, "Thank you." Keanu smiled. No thanks needed. A few days later, Sarah received a call from a top pediatric oncologist. Ethan had been placed on a new treatment plan, fully funded. Not just that, but a foundation Keanu supported had stepped in to assist with other expenses. Sarah wept when she read the email. Ethan's treatment progressed well, and one day, he received a special visitor at the hospital, Keanu Reeves himself, carrying a stuffed Batman and a handwritten note. To my favorite superhero, keep fighting. Ethan beamed. Keanu, look, I have my own superhero now. Keanu ruffled his hair. You're the real hero, buddy. Sarah stood by the doorway, watching the scene unfold with a heart full of gratitude. She had always admired Keanu Reeves from afar, but now she knew, his greatest role wasn't on screen. It was in real life. And in that moment, she realized something: there were still good people in the world. And sometimes, kindness came from the most unexpected places, even from a Hollywood star walking home on a rainy night. This story is inspired by Keanu Reeves' real-life acts of kindness.